Okay, greetings. All right. Another strange one. I don't know if I'll do another about those zombie realities. Um, I might do another one. I'll think I'll feel it out a little bit on that. So, so we can go to another zombie state. Columbia, I think I spelled that right. Columbia University. It's in New York State somewhere. I think it's by New York City, I think. Yeah. I wouldn't know. I'm not near there. So I've done universities a while back. But yeah, some of them are Creepville. You have Yale University has the Skull and Bones. Columbia University has a lot of elite energy. A lot of it's. I would say it's actually stronger than Harvard. Harvard is more. It's strong, but it's reserved. It's like a closed knit. Columbia University is more open. There's still a lot of elitist energy there. And you have these weird, creepy statues. That's the Columbia. I guess that's what United States was kind of like the, of course, you have the District of Columbia. So we're basically, the Columbia was created for the U.S. Of course, the Statue of Liberty is not Columbia at all. I don't think it is. I don't know, some kind of Roman deity or something like that. I forget the story on that. But Columbia is kind of like what they're, everybody has to have some kind of identity. So Columbia was chosen or created for the U.S. I forget the whole story on that. But it's Creepville. It's absolutely creepy. And a lot of these universities have those energies. It's so creepy. It's just whatever. And they know it too. I think the faculty know it. They know there's something not right about the place, but they just go with it. It's not like you have any choice, right? I guess you do, but if you need a job somewhere, the creepy university is always hiring, I guess, for teachers and whatever, what the mind control they're working on there. And they'll probably just say this is for the best of humanity. People that go to Columbia University also go to the Pentagon to get jobs in the Pentagon, things like that. Same thing with Harvard, same thing with Yale, same thing with Stanford. You get jobs in the government level, and then they get really arrogant. They're like celebrities. Yeah, I feel like the Hollywood celebrities are checked out. The government ones are also. You just never hear about them. Well, except for anyway. We get to hear about some of them. And it's pretty rough. It's like Kiss the Ring, right? And London, Westminster Abbey. It's a church, I guess. I thought it was an area, but I've done this before also in the past. And as these churches are bringing all kinds of entities, demonic energies, and so on. So it's just trickster beings. People are not taught about trickster beings. I mean, kind of, but not when you go to a church. You feel like you're safe at a church, and there might be some safety there, but it's also harnessing a lot of negative energy too. Of course, I imagine them agree with that. I would say some of the priests are a little bit more spiritually aware than your average pastor. They don't really understand it. Of course, some of the priests are bringing in this stuff themselves. It's almost like spiritual drug dealers. The other thing is the goblins. And there are good goblins and there's bad ones. Harry Potter has a lot of goblin energy there. That's not a bad thing. I mean, like I said, it's protect your energy. But goblin frequencies, I don't think I've ever talked about these guys, like hardly ever. They can be similar to like the devils, the devil beings. Some people look like a devil. Like some guys have like a mustache and have this like devil-looking smile on them. It's like, what the fuck? And some are spiritual. They're doing spiritual. I'm not going to say who. Someone doing spiritual work and they look like a devil. And people aren't noticing it. It looks creepy. I guess I guess we're so used to being around creepy people, creepy things. I guess I just kind of get used to it. You get immune to it all, right? So the goblin frequencies, yeah, what's happened to some of them? I know I guess John Stewart said they're like the Jews. They're not like the Jews. They're goblins. They're just a bunch of freaks, basically. There's probably more to it than that, but anyway, all right, we'll go into that real quick. First, it's time to talk to common prep sessions. We have the schedule, we have the shop here, maybe. We have webinar, social network behind the scenes. Oops. So Columbia University. Yeah, it's Columbia. I don't think many people even know who Columbia is. Even I'm not heard that. I wasn't that aware of her either. But that's her at the university. This university campus, that's how I get a picture of it, is crazy. I mean, even this thing, I don't know what that is. It's like, that's what she's in front of. I don't know if that's the university. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's the university. I don't know what it is. But anyways, yeah, none of this gives off a good vibe. It's like a Illuminati temple. I almost feel like there's like an all-seeing eye up at the top. There's a window there. I got a glimpse of that. There's an all-seeing eye. I would not be surprised. I don't know what's in that building. It's a Yeah, it's the main. I don't know. I don't really care. But yeah, this is Creepville. This is what a lot of egomaniacs go to the school. Not all, but quite a few. Yeah, I mean, go here and study. I mean, God, the vibes here just are not good. They made Ghostbusters there. So that says a lot. Let's see. Columbia University. Yeah. And the movie starts out. It's a creepy movie, starting off with a creepy statue. And that's them at the university. It's like, what does that say about this place, man? No, it does not get a good vibe off at all. So, yeah, a lot of elites come through here. You can start small here, but still, God, just not. It feels like it's stronger here than it is Harvard. You think Harvard would be stronger, but it feels like it's worse. If that makes any sense. I mean, they don't have a campus like this. So, anyway, yeah, this doesn't have exactly the most welcoming vibe. It definitely has I mean, this is not just elite like the 1%. I mean, people that go here feel like they're part of the elite system, which they probably are to a certain level. Anyway, so we have Westminster Abbey. Yep, everyone's favorite church, portal, entry into the unknown. Doesn't exactly have the best vibes. None of these churches are, especially when they're built like this. Yikes. It's like, it does have like a Notre Dame type of feel to it to a certain level. But it's not exactly bringing in good vibes either. You can say it does come from that Tartarian time period also. Of course, it has Masonic energy. It feels like very Tartarian too. Sound, well, it does have bells and all that, so it does have sound technology for sure. We'll never really know the full story of this place, of course. I can't imagine that's the interior of it. Is it really? Interior. Ouch. So that's the floor. Yeah. Masonic flooring. Lovely. I didn't know about that. I don't know what that is. Wherever this is. Lovely. it just call it. Jeez, it's like a whole place is like a seance. Yeah, it's the yeah. This is definitely elite's energy is definitely built this place for sure. So you don't have to look far to find these people. That's for sure. Yeah. Anyway, the goblins. Of course, they can't through Harry Potter. I don't think anything. I think Harry Potter is probably the one that brings up the goblins the most. Of course, some of that's in the Lord of the Rings, but I don't think it's anything like this. Yeah. It's just a whole nother reality. I don't know if they're going to say anything. Yeah, they have their ups and their downs. Yeah, they might look creepy, but it doesn't mean that they're all bad for sure. They just have their own little world, as you can see here. Yeah. So I don't know if they're all obsessed with money. I don't know. There might be some of that. They just have their own little society, basically. So yeah, this isn't off the best. I'm not sure yeah, they don't exactly get the best rap here, but they're not all bad for sure. Yeah, they're just not. They don't have the best. They're not depicted correctly. Harry Potter probably did the best, at least that I'm aware of. Yeah, because they're not these little. I mean, they're creatures, but they're not all monsters. It's just you know. Anyway, kind of give a vibe of that. All right. Okay, let's see what else we got here. All right, so lovely. Yeah, so Columbia University, jeez. Yeah, it does feel like it's more powerful than Harvard, which you think would be the opposite, but yeah, Harvard is more like your chosen elites, like your smaller niche people to go there. So Columbia University is just a larger branch out, so it can affect more other people out there. So yeah. Okay, all right, we connect to Columbia University. Ouch. Ooh, I feel a vibe there. Yeah, protect yourself. Protect yourself. That's where the bad guys are. There's a lot of them, at least. Not the people that necessarily go there, but it doesn't have the best vibes. Just the university in general. It has a very egotistical, arrogant vibration there. To say it's not all the students that go there, most of them probably have no idea. But just the university in general has many agendas built in, of course. Okay, then Westminster Abbey, tapping those frequencies in the Goblin. So, all right, blessings. Brings you is the consciousness of Columbia University. Yes, a high elite energy. They feel like they know what's best for society. So it's indoctrination, early indoctrination, only for a few though, not for everyone. Is basically they do imprint their energies on certain people and control them mentally. There is a lot of Nordic energies there. There are alien energies that are there to create an agenda. So your universities are part of, like if you go into your timelines, if you visualize your timeline and notice the universities, you don't have to, not many people think about this, but if it comes to mind, you can see they have a main impact on society because they do go, it is a school. So it is, they say it's there to a proper education, but it's mostly proper timeline education to engineer people to a certain level, to a certain way of thinking, to control the population. And some, yes, wanted to look at, yes, you get distracted with secret space programs. And there are secret space programs connected to this, yes. Not necessarily for the public view, of course, but a lot of your secret societies are part of universities that are taking energies from others and basically keeping your world at a time. So basically, they have a timeline. So many of you are part of a timeline to, you can do more, but you kind of downgrade yourself to a certain level so you don't get kicked off the planet. It's like because you can get kicked off of this timeline. You can literally just be shoved out. Can they kick you off the planet? It all depends. Like you sign a contract coming here. So you kind of go with the flow, as they say, because the beings that created these universities, created these timelines, have imprinted agendas here for you to follow. And many of you want to go against it. Yes, bring in your aliens, but if it's not part of the main agenda, it's hard to do that, as you can see. So you might force it all. Now, there's different, you can't really force an alien disclosure, really. I mean, you can help it, but you can't really force it. So humans are here are going to have to understand how this timeline works. You can introduce these energies to come into your reality as what you're doing, but to force it is impossible. That causes insanity. It causes mental illness, actually. As some of it are going through mental health. It's just that the timelines are set here were set, when the United States was built, all these universities created a timeline. They know exactly what they're doing. Yes, they built these buildings to a certain level, a certain power impact on the people. So we're in charge. And we're the ones that rule your timeline. The ones that rule these universities. It doesn't mean they rule everything, but they play a big role. As you know, those in power are always, funding, donating to these universities, keeping the agenda going. So your world still has, humanity is not always looking at the university. They look at university schools on a positive level. Obviously, not everybody does, but it's indoctrination. It truly is. That's how you engineer your world, how it thinks. So if you to reverse this energy, they don't want you to connect to them. It's like off limits. There's a lot of reptilian frequency there, of course. They want to keep you, locked down and to really, good luck on removing one of these universities from your reality. You can try. That's not likely. So for your timeline to truly change, a lot of these institutions need to go. They're holding on for dear life, as you can see. Well, nobody is not getting attention of what they're really doing. Eventually, students of these universities will revolt. We go against. They'll go against the university itself. Eventually, they've had them in the past, but only due to poor decision making and the war efforts and all of that. Eventually, they'll start to see, yes, they're dealing with evil. There's good there, but there's still a lot of darkness there, dark influence. So when people are becoming more, yes, what can you do? Well, basically, more groups of people have to become more aware of it and see it is the witch. Of course, they might call it a witch hunt, but that is where the dark, esoteric energy is. And they know it. So, of course, they would call it a witch hunt, but basically a form of it would help. But it's up to the collective to basically research, understand what environment they're in. There's not much they can do. They still need a job. So most likely not many will do much of anything. It's hard to release these type of holds on society. Greasy without consciousness of Westminster Abbey. Yes, it's a take energy. It's to take energy from those that are weak, to put fear in society of the end of the world for some, that they might go into hell. And so you need this church to make sure that you do not get swallowed up by the low frequencies. Of course, the low frequencies that built these churches, and this also actually goes back to the Atlantean time frame. The Atlanteans knew that a type of trickery. Of course, they got eaten by their own creation. And they helped create these type of mindsets and ended up destroying themselves. So imagine if you're in the past building a church to control society, ends up destroying yourself by doing it. That they can't, because they're opening up portals to the lower dimensions, and their mind starts playing tricks with them. And they're no longer sane themselves. As you see, there's a lot of insanity here in this reality. So a lot of it came from the churches, basically just esoteric teachings. Not to say esoteric vibrations are negative, but there's a lot of basically, it's the mindset that humanity is doomed. So you have your religion to help you move forward, of course, in theory, and also part of prosperity. It was actually taking away prosperity than actually giving it. But some of the churches do offer protection, but it's up to the person to do so, because it's there to take energy, but it can also give it. But still, yeah, society has the difficulties going against these religions. Humanity is not strong enough, at least at this point, at least become more aware of what they've gotten themselves into. Of course, it has infiltrated the government to a certain level. To hold, yeah, it's just basically it's a system within a system, as many of you know, and it's just basically just to pull frequencies from humanity. And you're here to figure all this out to make it better for yourselves eventually. Well, to understand what you're up against, basically, you go to a church and you see all these, beings in the fourth dimension. Once again, some are good, some are not. It's basically looking at everything from fourth dimensional perspective. This will help heal your world. As you go more fourth dimension, you'll see, churches just have a strong, you can see everything in the fourth dimension. You'll be here in the third dimension, but you'll see more through your third eye. So that's where you're heading. Blessings. Brings you, the Goblin consciousness. Those that have goblins usually are short people, not all, but usually they're short people. Not necessarily of the lower dimensions. Basically, we have our own societies. Your world only remembers the negative side of course, because some do get angry with humans. Some parents are goblin energies. Some mothers are goblin energies. And yes, they walk around with a stick or something like that, or some kind of a rolling pin. Somebody gets, some of them actually, goblins are quite good cooks, and they do have their own societies, their own realms, and some can be very wicked, with magic. So it's best to be careful. A lot of your fairy people, or your fairies, and also your elf people, some of them have goblin DNA, and so they can become more powerful spiritually because of that. Of course, goblin DNA can also be very erratic, too intense. But basically, goblin beings just wanted to be understood, not feared. The less fear, the more you can grow and learn. Doesn't mean you have to incarnate as one of us. We're a collective that continues to incarnate with each other for eons. It's just that beings like ourselves are brought to worlds like this to assist, even with its ascension, but help to ground it. Basically, if you're going to open up to Garthian realities, fairies and dragons, goblin beings will most likely find their way in. But it is true that goblin energies are involved with the monetary system. They have their own monetary systems, and that's part of your physical reality. So you can say some of it, if you connect to some of your Federal Reserves, you might feel a goblin frequency there in another dimension, because it might be a big bank there in another reality. So goblins are good bankers, you can say. Aren't you always honest? That's another story. But they usually deal with coins and physical. They don't really do the digital currencies. There are ones that do digital currencies, but usually it's a coin-based society, just like yours. So there is an influence there. But you can say why the goblins came in was to kind of bring some more order here with their monetary system, because there was chaotic energies. It's just that if the goblins can keep their monetary system decently, your world can also. it helps. And sort of you have goblin people. Yes, some of your elites are goblin people. Some of them are extremely powerful. Some of them have lost remorse, similar to like reptilian beings. The goblins can defeat a reptilian beings, can be smarter, can be all kinds of things. Just not you just don't hear about them very often. There are some goblin beings that are 6 feet tall, 7 feet tall. Usually they're shorts, but not always because they're like small, little niche societies, and they just go about their day. They just live their life as you would live yours. It's just like a little village, and it can't. Yes, there's some within London. It's all over the place. London has a strong frequency of them. Yes, of course, London kind of runs your financial society. So in your Rothschild energies, this reptilian is also goblin frequencies. And yes, some goblins can be, you know, greedy, as you can see with the Rothschilds. So if you connect to the Rothschilds and a goblin frequency, yes, protect yourself, of course. Blessings.